Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another versus video. In today's versus video, we are taking a look at the Mossberg 590 Retrograde versus the Remington 870 Retro. And before we get this video started, I just want to give a huge shout out to this video's sponsor, which is of course Seal One. Seal One has been a supporter of the channel now, man, I think over a year. They are awesome over there, and they make a wide variety of cleaning and maintenance supplies for your firearms and other items. They actually also make bow care products. I use primarily their CLP paste, and it does a really good job of kind of almost being like a grease for lube, and I also use the Seal One liquid primarily for cleaning, but they also have Sub-Zero Seal One to help out during the colder months to make sure none of your firearms freeze, and they are offering you guys a 25% off discount code for watching this video. All you have to do is click on the link down in the description. That will bring you to Seal One's website. At checkout, in the discount section, just put FF-25. That's FF-25, and it's going to save you 25% off of your order. This is a video that I know everybody has been asking me about. Everyone has been waiting to hear what my thoughts are in a direct comparison versus the Retrograde Mossberg 590 and the Retro Remington 870. I have done individual reviews on both of these shotguns, so if you are looking to see exactly what my thoughts are on one particular shotgun in a full feature-length video, both of those videos have been done recently on my channel. I'll try to throw a card up in the right-hand corner of your screen. Now, right out of the gate, we can touch briefly on reliability of the shotguns because it's going to be a short topic. These are both pump-action 12-gauge shotguns. When we're looking at pump-action shotguns, I really would have to question the entirety of that manufacturer if they're having issues making a pump shotgun reliable. In this case, both of these shotguns were 100% reliable. The only time that either of them had an issue is if I short-stroked the shotgun in some sort of a drill that we were doing. But overall, absolutely no reliability issues. We got to talk about fit and finish because I think that is going to be really a large deciding factor between which one of these shotguns that I would go with. First, we can look at the Mossberg 590 Retrograde. Mossberg has been a bomb-proof manufacturer of shotguns for a very long time. And consistently, as far as shotguns go, I've seen the quality control of Mossberg stay very, very consistent. And that's the exact same when it comes to this 590 Retrograde. All of the stray marks or nicks or scratches or anything like that on the wood or the receiver of the shotgun, I put on myself in using this shotgun at the range. Before all of this was on there, the fit and finish of this shotgun was immaculate. Everything looked perfect. I don't think I had a single stray mark anywhere on the shotgun. And also, when it comes to the finish of things like the wood stock where it meets with the receiver, you're going to notice that it is very well done. It is finished over properly. It's sanded together, and it looks very, very good. When we go to the Remington, it is still very good on the fit and finish, and I will say that although Remington has not had as even of a path of QC, this one is looking very, very good. The marks that you're seeing on the bolt here is actually just carbon. I have still yet to clean this thing because I really want to see how the finish is holding up. We've still got no rusting whatsoever anywhere on the shotgun, so that is very cool because if you remember any older Remington finish, they are horrendous with rusting, so this one's still doing a very good job. But as far as the receiver, it's a little bit more rough. You'll notice, just some stray machine marks here or there. I'm really nitpicking. It is not anything that is extremely offensive or anything like that. It's just if we're comparing the two together with the Mossberg and the Remington, the fit and finish of the Mossberg is just better. Also, when you're looking at small minor fitment details like the stock to receiver fit, you're going to notice that this one in particular was not finished at all. It is not cut properly up by the safety. It is not cut properly or finished by the receiver. And you'll notice again on the other side, it's just kind of slapped on there. Now, is that going to cause any sort of issues? No, absolutely not. But when we're comparing the two, the Mossberg definitely takes the win for overall fit and finish right out of the box. Now, for price point on the two shotguns, that is something else to consider because the Mossberg is going to be coming in at around $200 more expensive than the Remington. The Remington comes in at a stupidly reasonable price point. I think the Mossbergs, this particular 590, are typically seeing around $700, whereas this one is around $490 typically. So that, again, may also factor into that fit and finish and the quality control. You are paying significantly less for the Remington. Remington's job on the laser cut checkering here is just, it's a little bit subpar in the grip. You'll notice that a lot of this is just kind of rounded over and it is not super sharp, whereas on the Mossberg, which I'm sure is still laser cut checkering, it does a much better job of just kind of being a little bit more prominent. And on the forend of the Remington, it is a little bit better, but that is just something to note. Now, I think both shotguns out of box look absolutely incredible. Anytime I see these shotguns go out on the wall at the gun shop that I work at, they are immediate head turners for everyone walking by. I mean, anyone that sees this shotgun, your eye is immediately drawn to it. It looks like just that cool retro shotgun that these companies really design them to be. And I think out of box, just which one looks cooler, it's a complete draw. They both look absolutely excellent, and I don't think you would go wrong just based off looks with either of these shotguns. But of course, that is a very small feature when it comes to an overall battle between the two shotguns. We got to get into how they shot at the range, because this is where it gets a little interesting, okay? It gets a little bit interesting. With the Mossberg, I was fully ready to, without even a comparison video, choose this shotgun over the Remington. I am very familiar with Mossberg shotguns. I've shot them a lot at the range, a wide variety of them, from more tactical Mossberg pump guns to more traditional Mossberg pump guns. This is the shotgun that I started on back in the day as a teenager. That is what I'm familiar with. And I fell completely in love with the Remington shotgun at the range in how well it shot, specifically how smooth the action was, and then also just the overall controls were very, very comfortable to me. I brought the Mossberg to the range, and the one thing that I noticed right out of the gate in comparing it to the Remington is the trigger. The trigger is surprisingly better on the Remington over the Mossberg, and that's typically something that you see. The Mossberg triggers are nothing to write home about, but when you're comparing the two side by side, it is noticeably a better trigger on the Remington, and really not only the poundage, but the way that the trigger is actually angled and faced, and how skinny the trigger is here on the Remington versus how thick the trigger is here on the Mossberg. And that was very noticeable at the range, so I would actually give the trigger 100% to the Remington, and also how smooth the action was to the Remington. Surprisingly, Remington's action still, even after all the QC issues, is incredibly smooth with this pump shotgun. Now, with the Mossberg, it is still very smooth, but just the way that the actions are designed, the Remington's always had a little bit of an edge in that department. Typically, with Mossbergs, you got a little bit of a break-in period where they start really feeling nice after a couple hundred rounds. With the Remington, though, it was feeling great right out of the box. The other thing that I noticed about the Mossberg that I didn't think was going to be an issue was this corncob forend. Now, the corncob forend looks incredible. I would never change anything about how this looks. But they did not keep the ribs in the corncob forend sharp enough, in my opinion. They're all very rounded over, and if you mix that with this gloss finish on the walnut hardwood that this is made out of, it becomes very slippery at the range. And if you're actually using the shotgun, and that means you're pulling out shotgun shells that have expanded in the chamber and everything is a little bit more aggressive at the range because of that, it becomes a little bit of an issue. And I was not expecting that. The Remington has the look, without a doubt, and it also did not have any of those issues present that I noticed on the Mossberg. It was much easier throughout the day to rack the action of this Remington than it was the Mossberg. So I thought that was a very interesting thing to talk about. Overall, between the two options, they both shot incredibly well. I am nitpicking those minor things on the Mossberg, as well as I'm kind of nitpicking the Remington, but I'm really trying to dig deep into figuring out exactly which one of these is better. I gotta give the edge a little bit in shootability to the Remington, surprisingly. Between these two shotguns, you actually have a difference in barrel length. So the Remington is coming in with an 18.5-inch barrel, and that's gonna give you 6 rounds in the magazine tube. Now, I have had people tell me in the comment section that you can swap out the follower in the magazine tube of the Remington and maybe get it out to 7, so that's something I might do in the future. The Mossberg, you're working with a 20-inch barrel on this particular model, and that is giving you 8 rounds of total capacity in the magazine tube. I think it's a little bit unfair to compare capacities in this case scenario because there are Mossbergs out there in this retro line that only have 6-round mag tubes. So yes, this Mossberg beats it out in capacity, but that's because I specifically chose the model that has a higher capacity. Now, it would be interesting to see Remington come out with one of the retro line series that has more in the mag tube and a 20-inch barrel. I do think, surprisingly, the heat shield on the Mossberg is probably contributing to a little bit of the price, but also it was noticeably nice to have at the range. When you are actually ripping a pump shotgun at the range for a couple hundred rounds, those barrels get hot. And when you're grabbing it with a small retro forend like this, it's easy to kind of get a little bit of a tiny burn from that barrel. So having a heat shield is actually kind of nice in this case scenario. The Mossberg is going to have a bayonet lug and mounting system up towards the front, whereas the Remington does not, and that is, again, just one of those preferences between the two. When we are looking at shooting these shotguns at the range, this is a very long debate with Remington versus Mossberg. You have loading. On the Mossberg, 100%, there's no doubt about it, loading is easier. It's just easier. You have a larger port down here on the bottom to get to your magazine tube, whereas the Remington, not only do you have a smaller loading port, but you have this little guy here, and you have to depress that ramp down to feed it into the tube. Now, the argument here is that the ramp kind of acts as a guide into the magazine tube, which it does. The amount of times that my finger got stuck or my glove got stuck in that area, it was more times than I could count, and it slows down the reloading process. On the Mossberg, hands down, it is a faster reloading process. You know, and the crazy thing is, when I started this video, I literally, when I hit record on this video, I was all ready to say that the Mossberg would be the one that I would choose over the Remington, which was no surprise to me. And as I started going through this video, I almost want to gravitate towards the freaking Remington, which is amazing to me. It really is. I like the price point. I love the look of this Remington. It just has more of a raw look to it. There's just something about it. I wish it had more capacity. I wish the fit and finish was better. I think the Mossberg looks better. It is a better looking shotgun. It has a lot more features to this shotgun. It has more practical features like capacity and other things, but as I have them here on the table, there's something about the Remington that I really do enjoy. So I think if I was going between the two, as shocking as it is to me, I would probably choose the Remington in this case. That's not to say I am ever getting rid of this Mossberg, and that's also not to say that this Mossberg is not one of my favorite shotguns in the collection. And really, if you caught me on another day, I would probably gravitate towards the Mossberg. This is probably one of the hardest versus videos I've ever had to do because I absolutely love everything about both of these shotguns. And I needed to kind of nitpick everything to try to find one that came out on top. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure I surprised and agitated most of you guys down in the comments section by choosing the Remington over the Mossberg, and I also surprised myself. But you know what? It just is like that sometimes. And you guys know the deal. I absolutely will get back to you. While you're down there, head up to the description for ways to support the channel. And as always, stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.